What's going on, everybody? In today's video, we are going to be building an awesome setup for a new animal that I'm going to be receiving. Stick around. So, excuse my messy appearance. I literally just got off of a flight, and this animal is gonna be coming here tomorrow, I think, if the guy's still shipping it out today. So I gotta get a lot of stuff together in a very short amount of time, and I was gone for the last couple of days. So the animal that I'm actually gonna be receiving is Conyxis homiana, which is the Holmes Hingeback Tortoise. It is a species I've never worked with before. It was a species that I didn't want to work with, actually, but my buddy, he kind of just said, hey, you're gonna do it, and I had a lot of nervousness, and I still do have a lot of nervousness about it, but I've been in contact with some great people who have been guiding me through how to care for them, how to set up for them. So this will be a real test for sure, but I believe with the mentorship that I've been getting and with the research I've been doing, I think I'll be able to handle it. All right, y'all, so first things first, I am in my mosquito-infested backyard, and what I'm gonna do is I do plan on making a drainage layer for this setup. And the reason for this is because I want to retain the humidity better, and I just like the way how drainage systems work. So I got a bunch of lava rocks here. I'm gonna put them in this bucket, and then I'm gonna hose them down and get all the residual stuff off of there. And then we're gonna add that into the tub. All right, so we got a couple inches of our lava rock here. So I'm gonna go ahead and evenly distribute this throughout the enclosure. And then I'm gonna put in my window screen as a barrier between the substrate and the drainage, because you don't really want too much of the substrate to get in there. So just so you guys all know as well, this setup, Tom Arbor of Two Turtle Tom, check out his YouTube channel. He is the king when it comes to Hingeback tortoises. There's multiple different types of Hingeback tortoises, and he does a lot of great work with them. And the setup that I'm doing right now is inspired by him from watching his videos and talking to him. So I don't want to take credit for this, but I am gonna add my own little couple of things here and there. But for the most part, the setup is all his. For my substrate, I'm gonna be doing about a 50% mix of coconut coir. And what I'm gonna do is just wet this up for a little bit and let it soak in, hydrate, and then this way it'll expand. And then I'm also gonna be using about a 25% mix of topsoil as well as sand. And I'll be adding in a couple other little things here and there as well. Maybe a little peat moss, but the main component of the substrate will be these three items, but mainly the coconut coir. All right, everyone, so I got ahead and the coconut coir has all been rehydrated. So now I'm gonna add in the other components to my substrate here. What I'm gonna be adding is probably 2 to 3 bags of organic topsoil. After that, I'll be adding in a bag of play sand. And then what we're gonna do is add in a couple handfuls of peat moss as well. I just love using peat moss. It's one of my favorite substrate mix products I can use. So we're gonna add in a couple handfuls of that, and then we'll finish it off with some pine bark nuggets here. And this will just add a little bit of, texture to the soil, make it look nice and pretty and everything. All right, guys, so I actually went back and looked over at how much sand that I put in, and I put way too much sand, so I just offsetted that by adding in more of the other products. Sand is a great thing to have, and it occurs in all reptiles' natural substrates, but too much of it can cause impaction, so we want to avoid that. But now we get to do more of the fun stuff, and that is adding in our decorations and such like that. So I'm gonna be adding in some pine needles. We're gonna add in some leaf litter. And then we're gonna top it off with a little bit more of that pine bark, just for an aesthetic look on top. And that'll give it a nice foresty appearance. All right, so now to add in some plant matter, here I have a Boston fern that I received from Lowe's. It was on sale because it is dying, and I probably just ripped it up enough that it'll probably fully go extinct in this enclosure, but this will add some nice coverage for this animal so it can hide and feel secure. Obviously, we don't want it to be stressed, so we want to add in this nice plant matter that he can also munch on as well. I do have a second plant, and that is just gonna be a nice little pothos. So I'll probably just scoot that right over next to the fern and cover that up, and we'll see if those survive or not. Next up, we're gonna do our food and water dish. I do plan on not permanently using this saucer for a water dish because I want to get a deeper water, I guess, bowl for them so that they can soak if they choose to. But for the time being, I don't have that, so I'm just gonna go ahead and use a saucer and we can clean it out every day. Now, a big issue that a lot of us keepers tend to have is the animals getting their food and water bowls absolutely disgusting with stuff. So what I'm gonna do to hopefully and try and combat that a little, I found a little bit of success with this, not the perfect solution, but I'm gonna add in some big pieces of slate here. And that way, when the tortoise is crawling on their substrate, they don't get all of the substrate into the unwanted area. So, like, nice little barrier right there for them. All right, next couple of things is I'm gonna add in a piece of cuttle bone. That'll help keep their beak trimmed as well as give them sufficient amount of calcium when they choose to. I do not try to force calcium on my animals because sometimes you don't need it. But if you have something available to them, they will take advantage of it in most cases. Other than that, we're gonna go ahead and add some springtails into here as well. And we are also gonna be adding some powder orange isopods to help keep everything nice and clean. For those of you that know me, I love making my enclosures bioactive for the most part because it helps with the cleanup so much. So in terms of my heat, all I have is a 100 watt, or was it 75 watt, I'm not 100% sure, watt ceramic heat emitter placed over the heating area. All right guys, and finally, I took a piece of wood that I just bought from a Home Depot, and my UVB, I got the Jungle Dawn T5 6%, I believe it is, from Arcadia. Simply screw that into the brackets up there, hung it over here, and this enclosure is now ready for the tortoise. Awesome, and here is our new girl right here. This is a female Cnixus homiana, or the Holmes Hingeback Tortoise. She is a long-term captive bred animal. She was originally wild caught. She does have some old shell damage. It looks like she's probably had a crazy rough life, is what you see a lot of times with the animals. They're heavily imported in large numbers and spread diseases, unfortunately. And now she is in her new permanent home here. And I think this enclosure is gonna do great. And hopefully, if I decide I wanna continue working with these animals, one day we might get a male and breed them. But for now, this is the home she'll be living in. Thanks for watching, guys.